Your game store marketing sucks. That's what we're talking about today, and I have a very special guest on with me, Keaton.
Yeah, I'm Keaton. My brand is Velrock Art Miniatures. I make mostly digital miniatures, and I actually do the sculpting of them.
The 3D sculpting. So
Yes,
you
yes,
design the
yeah.
minis.
I'm not one of those people who says I make 3D miniatures and then you learn that they just 3D print them. I actually do the sculpting of them. I mostly do a subscription-based service for myself, where I make monthly miniatures. I do quite a few commissions. I've worked with Slugfest Games, Outward Realms, Jazza is a big one.
That's huge.
Yeah, most people know him.
Yeah.
So I've had a lot of fun
And this is
doing
your
that
full-time
stuff.
job.
Full-time job, finally. Yeah, it took about a year and a half before I got to that point, but yeah, full-time job now.
So you make your own miniatures, full-time job. You're able to work at home, set your own hours.
Yep.
You're
Yeah,
your master.
pretty much.
Well, heck yeah. Well, that's awesome. That's the dream. And that's why I thought it would be cool to have you on today. Also, you just walked into my store with
Yeah.
Taco Bell.
Yeah, I bribed my way in here.
Yeah, so he literally showed up today with Taco Bell, and I was like, hey, I'm recording a podcast right now. Do you want to be part of it?
Yeah,
So-
I appreciate you inviting me.
Thanks for being on. So, yeah, I wanted to talk about marketing because I believe marketing is a huge thing for businesses. It's done a lot for us, and I also see so many other game stores and people who are trying to follow their own dream. And it's not working. Like marketing isn't really going anywhere. You know, they have an Instagram page and maybe it's got 25 followers.
Yeah. You see a lot of that in the 3D printing sphere, especially nowadays that it's getting really oversaturated. You see a lot of people come in, try it for a year, and then give up.
Yeah,
So,
and your market's pretty interesting. I think there's a lot of competition.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially nowadays. When I started, I think it was 5 years ago, there wasn't much. It was like me, the like 3 or 4 like really big names. There was Miguel Zavala, who I'm sure you've
Probably run into their
yeah, he does like all the D&D miniatures, and he puts them out for free on Thingiverse.
Oh, I know that guy.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. There wasn't a whole lot. I'm not saying like I was one of the first because I was far from one of the first.
Yeah,
I'm just saying when I joined, there was definitely not a lot.
Yeah, and same thing with game stores. There's a ton of game stores here in Utah.
Yeah.
So in a saturated market, marketing can really make or break you. And so, yeah, I wanted to talk about what I see other people doing in marketing that's not working, and what things can be done to make that work. I do have a question for you though.
Yes.
Because you've got your own brand, you've got your own business. What are the things that you are doing for your stuff to kind of get the word out there? How are you marketing your stuff? Because you're different from a game store.
Yeah, I think this will be a good conversation because you guys can learn a thing or two from me on how not to do things because I do not market very well. The way that I market is basically exclusively through my Discord and through my mini factory.
And through word of mouth.
And well, not even that because I sit at home all day, so
But
of mouth. Yeah.
But you get in with these big companies.
Oh, for
and
sure.
So, like
yeah,
Jazza,
I guess like it drips down. Yeah, and those people can say some things. In terms of the stuff that I do commissions for, a lot of the times it's been me reaching out to them because I will see a product and I'll be like, hey, I like this. Can I make some miniatures for it? So a lot of the times it's not necessarily open marketing. It's more behind the scenes of me reaching out to someone.
Okay.
Now with Jazza, it was that's kind of how it was because when Tabletop Time started with Jazza, what I did is I reached out to him to make a miniature for Dave, who's one of the members of Tabletop Time. And then that just sort of trickled down into me actually talking with Jazza at some point to make one of the miniatures for his, I don't know what he calls it, like a MOBA project.
Okay.
Like a tabletop MOBA.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really
so I made that, and then we sort of kept in contact, and then he eventually asked if I wanted to do the Space Bears for him. So that's how I did it that way. It was more behind the scenes. In terms of getting my name out there. When I do commissions, I will usually ask if the person I'm doing the commission for will put my name somewhere on the project. So with Slugfest Games, when they were doing a Kickstarter for it, they had my brand sort of advertised along with the stuff that they were selling.
It's really cool.
So it's not like I'm not the master. So I think I'll learn a thing or two from you here.
Wow.
But yeah.
Neither am I. See, that's the funny thing. Like, I've never done any classes. I'm definitely not a professional. I've watched some YouTube videos on marketing, and it's a lot of just going by the gut. And so I think actually what you're talking about, something I hadn't really thought about talking about, but it's instead of spending time marketing, right, making videos and posts and stuff like that, sometimes it might be more worth it to just find customers.
Yeah, like networking almost.
Yeah. So part of your business is just finding customers, and then if I can make a connection with a good big customer, that can open up other doors. Yeah. Like if I make a connection with Jazza, and then Jazza shouts me out on his YouTube channel, and then he gets 1 million views on that video, that's suddenly marketing that, all because I just secured that one client.
For sure. Yeah.
And the same thing with game stores. Depending on who you can bring into your game store, they will market your game store. Here's an example. The guy who writes the Mistborn books, Brandon Sanderson, came into my game store. Just walked in randomly because his family was at the mall.
Yeah.
And he bought like $100 worth of our mead.
Oh, nice.
Okay. And later on, I was able to set up a connection with that company. And we've hosted events for his release of a book, and we are helping him run his game room.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I've never talked to him personally, but the fact that he was able to come in and see my store and kind of see what we do, that probably helped build that connection. And then when we made connections with staff. So it's really interesting how the social aspect of just who you meet, who you talk to, is in some way marketing.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you meet someone big, and then you get a wider audience, just like you were saying, word of mouth.
Yeah. I think there's a lot that game stores can be doing to market themselves, and I'm going to focus on a lot of social media marketing because that's what I've done a lot of.
Yeah, and I mean it's working. That's the future. So social media gets the word of mouth a lot easier than actual word of mouth.
It's powerful. The fact that I can post a video on TikTok and I'm a nobody and it can hit 10,000 views.
You're not a nobody.
In the grand scheme of things, but thank you. The fact that I can post a video and it can get 10,000 views and I didn't pay a penny for that, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's crazy powerful. So now here's a question for you. When you are on social media or YouTube or whatever, okay, what bugs you? Like, what do you not like to see? Because there's definitely posts that feel like, I'm just going to immediately, like, my brain is just like, scroll up or scroll past. Like, this is not even something that I want to bother looking at.
That's a really good question. I feel like any way I answer this is going to sound selfish on my part because I don't like to see any advertisement at all.
No, I agree. and that's not selfish. I think that's how we are as humans.
Yeah.
We don't like to be sold to.
Yeah, it has to be like really, I would say in order for me to pay attention to an advertisement, it has to, well, first of all, interest me, which isn't a problem nowadays because Google and all these big corporations
like
steal your info. Yeah. But so that's not as big of an issue. So I definitely get advertisement that's targeted toward me, but I don't click on any of it unless because a lot of my stuff ends up being 3D printing, even though I don't 3D print, which is weird because I make stuff for 3D printing.
That's funny.
I would have to see something with really eye-popping artwork, I think. And that's not even necessarily like the 3D print itself. But if there's like artwork, like concept art for me, like just something really cool looking, I'll click on it.
Yeah, but it's got to be like really, really stand out.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Like Kickstarter. I've seen so many Kickstarters, and they have fantasy art,
Mm-hmm.
and like there's so many people trying to forge their own path,
Yeah.
which is great. Like that's what we're doing. But like, I feel like everything is so saturated, and we're so bombarded by ads. The last thing we as humans want to see is another ad. And so I feel like that's one of the big mistakes a lot of people do is they kind of approach things like, oh, hey, I'm going to make marketing, so I'm going to post an ad about my sale of miniatures. Okay. It doesn't, in fact, it's like, even if I have a really unique product line, like something that nobody has ever come up with, like my traveling deck, the deck for Dungeon Masters. That's a very unique product line.
Yeah.
Nobody had really made anything like that. And I made ads. I made Facebook ads, and I paid money to get those in front of people, and they just didn't do good. And maybe that's just because I still had a lot to learn.
Yeah. Well, that's actually an interesting thing that you bring up, because sometimes being too unique can be a problem in itself.
That too, because nobody understands what the product is.
Yeah, there's not enough mass appeal to it.
Yeah.
And I've experienced that as well. Like some of the miniatures that I make that I see like really low sales on, it'll usually be a commission for someone who had like some wacky idea for a character.
Yeah.
And I'll just be like, okay, yeah, I'll make that, and they'll pay me for it. And then I retain the rights to it so I can sell the digital file. And those miniatures, those weird ones, sometimes I don't even bother putting them up, because I'm just like, no one's going to buy this. No one's going to have any interest in this.
It's like a chicken,
Yeah.
but he's like sticking an egg still, so he's like walking around. It's like, who wants that?
It's super unique.
But yeah, true.
But that, yeah, it's hard to find the right balance between uniqueness and mass appeal. I think good, clean graphic design helps a lot in that.
Yes.
And I suck at graphic design,
so do I.
Yeah.
So I'm a terrible at graphic. But so that's one thing, is just making your videos super clean. Like if you're gonna film, like it might be just best to like get a friggin' light box and put your product in a light box instead of like trying to set it up around your house and actually show a video of that.
Yeah, definitely important for
cleanliness. So we actually have video for this episode, which is great, and you get to see the back room, and it looks absolutely horrible, but that's fine.
It'll get there.
Eventually.
It'll be awesome.
Here's what I think interests people, and I think this is the core. And you said it. I feel like I'm selfish. And I feel like when we are looking at anything, social media, that's just how our brain is really looking for things. Very selfishly. Because we're not thinking about anybody else, we're just thinking about ourselves.
Yeah.
And so what appeals to selfish? And I'm not talking like selfish is a bad thing, just as like just your what is interesting to caveman Andrew? What's interesting on a core aspect? And so you see some people who do like skits, and I've seen some game stores do like skit channels, and those are actually doing pretty good. There's this computer company that does like those video games in real life skits.
Yeah, I'm not sure who that is, but I know exactly what you're saying. And skits, I mean, you and I did stuff like that in high school.
Yeah, we made stupid YouTube videos. Please do not go look them up online.
No, they're awesome.
So cringe.
They're awesome. I watched Mummy Buddy the other day, and it was so funny. But that stuff has been around forever, and people love that. Like you look at people like Julian Smith, for example. Yeah. This was like the dawn of YouTube.
Yeah.
And all he did was skits.
Yeah.
And he became super popular.
And so I think that's one thing. If you have a creative and a sense of humor, now that's the hard part. Is a lot of people actually don't have a sense of humor, or they don't know how to film, or there's a lot of hurdles in the way of making skits that are fun and engaging. Because I made a bunch of super cringe YouTube videos, and watching them now, a lot of them, I'm just like, oh my goodness.
Sometimes it's fun to look back on them.
Yeah, as a endearing way, but not really.
But if people don't know you, then they see it as cringe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so skits is a way, but it's actually really tough. You have to be able to know comedy and film and all that stuff. So I don't think that's as good. I think one thing that we love, though, as humans is stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's where a lot of game stores and also companies can really succeed. And I think about some of the brands that have just exploded recently. There's like some channels I watch on TikTok, and they tell the story of why they made their company. Hey, I started this hot sauce company with my dad because he always wanted to have a hot sauce company, and so I said, Dad, let's just do it. And then it's a video of him boxing up his hot sauce for a customer. And it's a really interesting story because there's something caveman about us just liking stories.
Yeah, we like the journey.
Yeah, we love the journey. And so, like, one of my really good videos is me showing off, hey, here's me. Good voice crack there. Here's me. I just bought the keys for my new store.
Yeah.
And I open the store, and you see a completely empty, vacant store. And I tell how excited I am. I just bought the store. I've been saving up for a while, and I'm going to turn it into my dream game store. That was one of my first videos that really blew up because a lot of people connected with that. They felt my excitement, and it didn't feel like I was selling them, come to my game store.
Right.
It was, wow, this guy is following his dreams.
Yeah.
And that's a lot more interesting to people.
It's almost like the classic underdog story. For some reason, people gravitate toward that.
The underdog,
You're not some rich millionaire who's like, oh, I'm gonna on a whim buy this storefront. You know, you're just a regular guy like everyone else, and you decided to do it yourself. You know, with the help of family.
Right? And friends.
And friends.
Absolutely. And there was a quote I heard, and I'm going to butcher it because I don't remember where I heard it. But it's, people love genuine. Okay? Like, you're attracted to being genuine. Yeah. If something feels genuine, it feels good. And when something doesn't feel genuine, that's when it feels like a commercial. And we hear it in bands. Oh, the band sold out. Okay, because the band music doesn't feel genuine to that person anymore. Anyway, people gravitate towards being genuine, and people do not like when it feels not genuine and forced.
Right. Okay. Because people can tell when something is fake.
People can absolutely
It's the uncanny valley.
Yeah. We had the huge outcry when The Rock and Oprah were like, help us raise money for all of these people in this fire. And like the internet just threw a huge fit over it because we have these millionaires telling people to raise money, even though it's like a good cause. It didn't feel genuine at all because it's like, you guys are billionaires. Why don't you just
it was
pay for it? It would have been much more genuine had the refugees filmed their own video instead of
and I actually just did one of a fundraiser for them. I mean, I ended up getting $507 for it.
That's
nothing
awesome.
Crazy, but
$500
we made some miniatures and we donated because I used to live on Maui. I used to work in Lahaina. Like every couple weeks, we'd go to Lahaina to some of the condos there because my mom was a property manager, and we'd go in there and clean it out. But anyway, that's beside the point. But yeah, I agree with what you're saying. It's like you guys are billionaires. Oprah's a billionaire, isn't she?
Oh yeah, definitely. Probably The Rock too.
It's like she alone could go there and help out.
Fix
and instead,
everything. She's asking.
She's purchasing land.
People in this terrible. Oh yeah. Well, let's not get into the conspiracy theories.
This isn't a conspiracy.
but again,
I could do my best Alex Jones voice if you want.
Oh yes, please.
No, I'm just kidding.
But yeah, and that I think is the core to whatever type of advertising you want to get into. If you're going to make skits, if you're going to make Facebook posts, if you're going to make Instagram things and stuff like that, like, I agree. People are attracted to beauty. So if you have beautiful art, if you have really nice looking stuff, if you have something that looks really cool, that will definitely draw attention. But if you can speak freely and genuinely to people, and you can be on their level,
unscripted.
Well, and maybe you script it, but like,
well, you can have like a outline, but sometimes when people
like we can even tell it when things are scripted.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was gonna say. You see like a lot of these apology videos out, and you're just like, oh, that just turns me off from that person entirely.
Oh yeah,
I don't want to see anything from them now.
Kidding. But. Yeah. So I think that's the thing, is you have to be genuine. Whatever videos you make or whatever, that's part of it. The other thing is quantity. you just gotta keep it up. You just got to keep on posting, making videos, whatever, because you never know what's going to take.
Yeah, if you do it daily, you have a much higher chance of being seen. Apparently, I mean, with YouTube at least, they say, if you want the algorithm to include you, you got to do it daily.
Well, yeah, or you're posting on weekly or something, but but you got to, because here's the thing. I'm not a marketing genius. You're not a marketing, we haven't.
Thanks. I'm just kidding.
It's true.
No,
None of us are
I'm
marketing
not,
geniuses. So our best solution is the shotgun solution. Yeah, just keep on shotgunning it out. The more stuff you come out with, you never know what suddenly will click with people.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I've had some videos where I put a ton of time and work into them, and they barely get any views.
Tell me about it. Yeah, my last big project I did, I put so much work into it. It was like a proxy army for the 40K guardsmen.
That's cool.
And it was almost, maybe if I had put it out on April 1st, it would have done better. But it was cats. So instead of Cadia stands, it was Katia stands.
Oh my goodness.
And it was like almost the full range
I need to
of
get this.
infantry.
I need to get this in.
Yeah.
I need to print it.
Yeah. And I worked so hard on it, and I sent it out to all my followers, had my mini factory help me with it. My mini factory.
Oh boy.
It made like $3,000.
That's it.
My first project that I made with Jamushka, which was the Curious Critters. Now that one had artwork. So we advertised, and it was a very beautiful advertisement because of the artwork that she did. That made $14,000.
Wow.
So to go from $14,000 to
$3,000 for a project that you probably put more time and effort into.
Yeah, I did, but yeah, that sucked.
Wow. and sometimes it is like that. You know, it's like maybe you have to write 5 books before one of them actually takes off, or maybe you got to make 100 videos before one of them gets the views, and maybe you got to make 1,000 Facebook posts before people start following you. And it's like I think that's the other thing is it is a grind. Unfortunately, that's just the name of the game. Unless you were like a friggin' marketing wizard and you could guarantee, you knew how to psychologically take apart a person and make a viral video. I think your best bet is to just crank stuff out. And just keep on trying. Do something a little bit new. Try to get better. But maybe put a video to your podcast, and maybe more people will watch it.
And I don't know if this is good advice, but I don't want to say hedge your bets because I don't know if that's good advice or not. But if you put everything into one project and then that project fails, that's going to demotivate or demoralize you more than anything else. And I saw that a lot with now Outward Realms is a project I worked on, and it was supposed to be an alternative to 40K. Now, it wasn't such a big deal to me because I got paid for the work regardless because it was a commissioned project. Yeah. But they were so confident in their marketing and their research, and they told me every chance they got, we're very confident in this. And it didn't, I think it maybe made a profit, but all the stuff that they had planned for in the future, they had to cancel it all. And
it wasn't a 40K killer.
It was not. No. Now it's got an audience, and it's really cool, especially the miniatures that I made because
you made them.
Yeah. No, it was fun. I made little. They were supposed to be. They're called the Hexagoda. They're supposed to be a alternative to Tyranids.
Very cool.
So they were like bugs. So it was really cool. It was almost like Starship Troopers kind of.
Allegedly, I don't know if this company wants to go on record as saying that they were.
No, I'm sure they weren't bragging about being a 40K killer. But it was an alternative. Is what it was. And it's really cool. The miniatures are really cool. The artwork they have is really cool.
But it didn't do that one.
But I think they maybe were just a little bit overconfident. Now it does have an audience and it does have a store and they're selling stuff.
So it's doing something.
It's doing something. But I think maybe overconfidence can be the downfall of a lot of things. And if you put all your work into one project and then that project doesn't do as well as you think, then you're just kind of left wanting.
And I think that's really important to whatever you're doing, whatever your dream is not to compare yourself to others and not to, like you said, put all of your eggs in that one basket. Just measure yourself. How can I get better this week? How can I get one more sale this week than I did last time? Because it's so easy. There's some game stores out there who are there's amazing. they're amazing. Like I follow them on social media, and it's like, holy cow! Like when they do a convention, they get 80 square feet, and I was lucky to get 20 square feet at this last one, and it's like, no, they dominate conventions.
Well, if they gave you more space, I mean, you would just like destroy the competition because this is the best place ever.
I appreciate. Thank you. Yes, here's your $10 after that podcast. But like, it's so easy to be, especially when you're following your own dream, and nobody really buys into it. It's so easy to be demoralized. You know, after my 100th Facebook post, and I still only get like 3 or 4 likes. It's like, why bother? You know? So it's not easy, but like, keep on doing it. Keep on doing it. Yeah.
It's easier to keep on doing it if you're super interested in what you're doing.
If you have a passion for it.
Which obviously you do for the game store, and I do for 3D
and you
printing.
For minis and sculpting and stuff. Yeah, you do gotta. You can't do it for the money.
Exactly.
That's I think the last thing. If you're gonna follow your dream, can't do it for your money.
Yeah. Money's nice, but
I mean it lets you live.
Yeah.
That's very important, but you don't bet on it.
Excitement and fun come first.
Yeah, a passion.
Yeah.
The reason marketing is so important is because it brings in the fresh blood to your product line.
Yeah.
Okay. There's only so much you can get off of your diehard fans.
Yeah.
Okay. There's in a game store, I have my regulars, but there's going to be a time where those regulars are going to go away. You know, like they're going to maybe start a family and life gets complicated, maybe injury, illness, whatever. You can't ever be comfortable. At least that's how I feel. And so you should always be trying to learn and push whatever, grow in your marketing field, so you can bring in those new people. And the game stores that I've seen, because I've seen 3 game stores close here in Utah, like here locally in the 25-mile radius. I've seen 3 game stores close in the last 5 years.
That's a shame.
And I think the reason is because they weren't able to get more people in. They definitely had their regulars, they had their supporters, like their family and their friends and their friends' friends, but it came to a point where they couldn't keep on pulling people in, and so they just withered on the vine, which is really sad because I know those people got into it because they were passionate about it. But yeah, it's really interesting for me to analyze that kind of stuff. And maybe it's just because I have that kind of mentality.
Yeah.
And maybe not everybody has that mentality of like, how can I market? Like it's, for me, running my business, part of the challenge of running that business is how do I market myself? Yeah. And there's some people who just don't like marketing, like straight up, like making Facebook posts, Instagram. Worst. So that's not fun for you. So
any clerical work that I have to do, and there's a lot of it with uploading.
Paperwork
and
is
stuff.
The worst.
I can't, man. If I could just hire someone to do all that for me, I would, because that's the worst part of it.
Well, and I feel the same. If I hired an accountant because I was doing all the accountant work for the business.
You know any people that work for free or?
No, but as a business, hopefully you can grow enough to the point that you can then pay somebody to do that kind of stuff. So then you can just focus on your art, your genuine interest of it. Yeah. And if you can focus on what you genuinely are excited about with that product, that's gonna bleed into your social media. Yeah.
Yeah, I can tell you from experience, just from what I do see of other creators in the 3D printing sphere, I know what I need to do in order to market better. I just don't know if I want to sell my soul. If that makes sense.
That's very interesting.
Now, I'm not saying that they're selling their souls.
But that's really interesting that you feel that way, because you're feeling the sellout.
Well, and I don't even want to say that because the work that they do is really good work. Yeah. It's incredible. But you see the people who have the highest subscriber count, they'll either have 1 or 2 minis every month that is not safe for work.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I don't know if I want to do that.
I don't know if you want to get into the adult territory.
And it's not like, explicit stuff. It's just more artsy, not safe for work. But even that stuff, I'm like, no thanks. Yeah. Now, good for them for doing that because they're getting money. $100,000 plus a month. But,
sex sells.
I know.
But
It's such a shame.
I really don't want to get into that market either.
Yeah. You don't want to have like
No.
shirtless guys out at the front like dancing for you?
The tavern, it's not a seedy tavern. I will
Yeah.
definitely say that. But let's wrap up. Keaton, this has been an absolute treat. Thank you for bringing me Taco Bell.
Sure thing.
And appearing on my
Always.
podcast.
Yeah.
Tell me, where can I find Keaton's amazing miniatures?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thanks for having me on. It was a spur of the moment thing, but I'm
Very.
yeah. It was fun. I feel bad for taking Spencer's spot here because usually listening to the podcast, you hear him talking. So
Spencer's, he's a good sport.
yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it. But yeah, Velrock Art Miniatures. You can find me on myminifactory.com. I have a YouTube channel, Velrock Art Miniatures. I have a Instagram, which I don't post to as much as I should, but I'll do like full color renders of my miniatures there.
If you are looking for D&D or fantasy miniatures, check out the stuff because it's very well priced. Quality's amazing. Check it out.
Yeah.
Check out his stuff. And then, of course, you also have, hey, you found the podcast, so you probably know I have got Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all under We Geek Together. I appreciate you guys listening to me. I appreciate you, Keaton, talking to me.
Sure thing.
So, good luck on your marketing, and I wish you the best.
Good luck on yours.
Thank you.